Testing, test, test, test. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Sea Radio. I will be your host for this evening, Corbin. Mr. Money Mike Madness, how you doing? Jack, how are you? Floyd, what's going on? Genetic, how's it going? Ricky's already laughing at me. Steven, how are you? Scott, what's going on, my friends? Man, quiet house tonight. That's all right. What up, Robbie? Josh, how are you? We're live. Let me just fix my camera a bit. Perfect. What up, Matt? So for those of you that are here, what's up, Perpetual? It's happening on St. Patrick's Day then? Yeah, we got a lot of time here. Think of all these rumors about Alex Bregman. We made a video today, Steven. Also, hi, how are you? We made a video today talking about all of it, and we'll talk about it a little bit to start off this live stream. So just a heads up, I'm going to say this a couple of times. This is going to be a short-ish. It's about the same, honestly. What did I do? Shave? Brother. Do I look shaved? Anyways, where was I? Oh, going to be a exactly 2-hour stream today. Reason is because we're going to go directly from this stream right here over to Robbie Hyde's channel. We're going to do a live stream with him as well. It's cut the moss. Guys, why are we starting this off just commenting on what cut the moss? My hair? Brother, what? It's pretty short, in my opinion. You guys, if you see me with my long hair, it's been pretty crazy. So anyways, we're going directly. I think it's monster territory, Genetic. I think it's monster territory. In fact, I'm pretty positive it's monster territory. Oh, did I cut it? No, same. Been a while. Yeah, so we're going to be doing this until 8:45 tonight, and then we're going to be doing... Robbie Hyde's. So if you want to keep the train going, what up, Bob Dylan? Keep the train going. I'll be right over there directly after this. Okay, so I did want to start off the stream. So we're going to get into, so this is the interesting thing about this time of year with these videos, these live streams, is there's not really a ton of news, right? There's stuff we can go over, but we did go over it earlier in today's video. Outside that, there's not really a ton. I did want to start with one news item to talk about. I think the Bregman stuff is dead. Yeah, it sure sounded like it's going to be the Cubs, which is interesting. It's interesting because with the Cubs, their offer's right apparently in the same ballpark where the Red Sox are. So we'll see kind of where it goes, but I did want to touch up a little bit and update you guys a little bit on the Alex Bregman stuff, because Bregman did get a little something here. This is from Cardinals Live. Now, some of you guys have some mixed feelings about Cardinals Live. I actually don't. I don't love them for baseball news. They try to put some stuff out there. Some of it doesn't end up working out, but in terms of Cardinals news, they tend to be pretty on the nose, or at least pretty in the know, I should say. And this is what they are saying is right now, at least what the proposed trade, right? Proposed trade for Nolan Arenado might be. I don't know about this one, right? I guess it depends on how much money's being eaten. A lot of people have kind of, where was I going with that? Oh, a lot of people have sort of held Blaze Jordan to this really high standard of prospect. And don't get me wrong, he's a solid prospect. But Blaze Jordan right now is kind of an average prospect. He is, right? A lot of people have said Corbin's well above average. You know, I mean, it was above average last year. This year, it was a dead average season, right? I don't really have a huge problem trading Blaze Jordan for really anybody. Nazan, on the other hand, Nazan did terrible last year. He was not good last year statistically, but he was injured. He was also 18 years old, right? Next, this is his 19-year season. The tools are there for Nazan Zanatello to truly be something special. I do not love giving up Nazan Zanatello, but again, you think about it. If the Red Sox aren't going to have Bregman in a conversation, I don't really... Nazan isn't going to totally decimate the Red Sox farm system. What up, video game? Yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit today too, Eric. I should just change the title of this video to Red Sox News and Rumors, huh? I think I'm going to do that. Because that's really what we're going to be talking about, I think. Let me change this a little bit. Let me get rid of this and then do latest Sox news and rumors. Okay. Save. Okay. Anyways, sorry. I just thought about that. I just thought about that because we are touching on that at the beginning of this. Anyways, so it sounds like this is picking up steam a little bit, right? It sounds like this is becoming more than just, okay, they're checking in, they check in on everybody type thing. It sounds like this is sort of starting to become, hey, at least they're putting some stuff together, right? Again, I don't hate that. I think it's going to come down to, in my opinion, it's going to come down to what is the cost, right? How much money are you taking on from Nolan Arenado's salary? I am curious. Does anyone remember how much they were planning on giving the Astros for Bregman or for Arenado? Do you remember? Let me see. Let me see if I can get the exact dollar amount, because then we can sort of play around with the dollars. Was it 15 million a year? Like the Astros were going to pay 15 million, or the Cardinals were going to give them 15 million, or was it just 15 million total? Because I can't believe. So it was 15 million total. All right, so we'll go based off of that. I'm curious. I'm just curious. Actually, you know what? I'll do this in front of you guys. I don't know why I'm typing this on my second monitor when I could just show you guys what I'm doing. Okay, so let's take this trade and let's talk about it on... I think we're going to do something similar on Robbie's live stream later. Again, going on Robbie's stream tonight, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. We're going straight from this stream into that stream, so it should be a ton of fun. Sign in. I think I just... Yeah. That's my email if anyone wants to email me. I don't have if anyone wants to email me, I'm usually fairly good at getting back. Sometimes I miss some stuff, but Richard Fitz and Alan Castro, absolutely not, right? I would not do this. I'd be actually pretty upset if they did that. Okay, so let's take that trade. Let's say they give him $15 million. So what we know, here's what we know about the Arenado stuff. We know, one, that the Red Sox want to take on less money than the Cardinals are comfortable giving them. We know that. We know that the Red Sox have tried to put Massa in this deal. The Cardinals don't want him. We know that. So I don't think that is going to be a possibility. Let's put in Blaze. Oops. Blaze Jordan. This is what I mean, right? People are all over Blaze Jordan. He just doesn't have a ton of value. Here's the interesting thing. When you put in Arenado, and this would be 15 million. It's kind of it's still a little bit of a lopside. Like, the Red Sox are still giving up more than they're getting back. I mean, obviously Arenado is most of the time. Arenado is, I don't know, Chad. I'm kind of all over the place today. I'm sorry. We just finished up. I've been on meetings basically this entire time. I just finished up a meeting with another wedding caterer. I've been all over the place. We're wedding planning right now. But anyways. So this is what the trade would look like. Again, you sit here and you say, okay, well, at the same point, we know that they want to take on less money. So let's make this $20 million, right? Make it $20 million. Take that off of Nolan Arenado's deal. And a lot of people aren't considering that as well. A lot of people are just taking Arenado for face value. I think there's more to it than just straight face value here, right? People are just going to say, oh, he's declining. Okay. I'm not going to disagree with that at all. I'm not going to disagree with that conversation. What I am going to say, let me see if I can pull up his contract here. I do want to look at his contract a bit because I want to have a conversation about what this would look like on a year-to-year basis and whether or not the decline is worth it at all. Because you go into salaries here, and Arenado's, so he's going to be making... He's really not making a lot, to be honest with you. He's making $25 million a year, but the payroll is $16 million after this season. It's 21. It's $21 million. It's $16 million, and then it's $15 million straight dollars. So the Cardinals give you $5 million a year. You're paying $20 million a year for Nolan Arenado through his age 36 season. Right? My conversation is, okay, now you compare that to Bregman. What's more worth it in your mind? Now, again, I sit here with the Arenado stuff, and the only reason I would be upset if the Red Sox traded for Arenado is because of the idea that every time he's been brought up, Tristan Casas has also been brought up in a trade, right? Maybe not straight, definitely not straight for Arenado. That's never been a conversation. I think people are sitting there and kind of connecting the Red Sox and the Cardinals with Casas. I don't think that's where that goes. Where he'd be going would be to another team, right? And that's always sort of been the connection that's been made. It's always been Red Sox trade for Arenado. All of a sudden, the Sox are trying to trade Tristan to the Mariners. Or all of a sudden, they're trying to trade Tristan to the Cardinals for Herrera, right? All this sort of stuff. I think the later in the offseason we are, the better chance we get Arenado and keep Casas. So this is kind of where I'm at too, Joe. I'm kind of on the same page as you. We're going to talk about that in just a second, Marvin. I promise. We're going to get there. I'm just trying to get my thoughts out on Arenado in general, and then we're going to talk about fit and sort of what this means for the season if this ends up happening. So let's say that this is sort of what the Red Sox are looking at right now, right? This is what the Cardinals are offering. This is what the Red Sox are offering. They can't match up. Now, my question is this worth the trade for the Red Sox? Personally, right? I love Nazan Zanatello. I would be upset that they traded him. But it doesn't totally decimate your farm system, right? Like you're not gonna totally miss another infielder. You're not. Especially with Franklin Arias progressing the way he has, Yohan Cespedes progressing the way he has, the few infielders you signed in the DR this year that are around the same age. So you've got a whole bunch of this crop of young infielders who, again, are sort of going to take the reins as your top prospects as you get forward with this sort of Marcelo Campbell progression. So is it the worst idea in the world to trade these guys? I don't think so, especially for what you'd be getting in Nolan Arenado. And I know a lot of people sit there and they say, oh, this is a guy who's going to have an unbelievable decline, right? He's just going to continue to decline. And it's tough to sit here and be like, yeah, he's gonna bounce back to the 2022 Arenado or 2021 Arenado, right? Where he was well above league average. I mean, in 22, he had 30 bombs and 103 RBIs. I don't think we're going to get that. But at the same time, too, if you get a league average hitter who gives you 20 home runs and you combine that league average hitter with 20 home runs with Trevor Story, who, we're going to talk about in a second as sort of a key to the Red Sox this season, who could also be a league average bat with 20 home runs. All of a sudden, you got 40 home runs from the right-hand side. Right? All of a sudden, you got 20 home runs from the right-hand side. You also make one of the better left side of your infields in baseball. I mean, the Red Sox or the Rockies, when they had Story and Arenado at third base and shortstop, were one of the best infielders in baseball. So you sit here and you say, well, yeah, you could sit there and you could debate it. I disagree with Nolan Arenado can. What do you disagree with? I mean, he did it last year. He was a league average bat last year with 16 home runs. Does Arenado's impact as a leader increase the value of the young guys on the team? Yeah, it absolutely should. Right? It's just simple logic, right? You take it out of baseball. Let's take it out of baseball. Right? Let's talk about it in like a regular workplace. Okay? You've got this young hotshot lawyer coming in to your firm, and you pair him with this successful older lawyer who's, hey, he's still got a few years left. He's certainly not in the grave or anything, but he isn't what he used to be. You're telling me that's not a good pairing, right? You're telling me that the experience from this older lawyer isn't going to trickle down to this younger hotshot lawyer who could be better than he is? Like that's sort of what we're thinking here. So then you put it back into baseball terms. You say Roman Anthony's coming up here, and he's got now Trevor Story to lean on. He's got Nolan Arenado to lean on. He's got Devers to lean on to some degree. He's got Duran to lean on. That's all of a sudden a really great core of legitimate, not even just impactful baseball-wise, but impactful off-the-field-wise as well to mold this next young core of the Red Sox. And I think that's absolutely something that's pertinent to this Nolan Arenado conversation. Someone's been watching Suits. Yeah, that's exactly Robbie. I'm not kidding. I was literally thinking of Harvey. 2018 Rockies, that was 7 years ago. Yeah, it was 7 years ago. But their defense hasn't changed. I had this conversation with someone in the comment section this morning. They were like, Nolan Arenado's declined in every statistical way, even defensively. No. He's better this year than he was last year, and he's still the 95th percentile in third base defense. Then you talk about Trevor Story. When he's healthy, he has been one of the best shortstops in baseball. In fact, when he's been on the field, he's been a top 5 defensive shortstop in the game. So you sit there with both of those two and you say, wow, that's fantastic, right? That's a great infield. So when I'm looking at this trade, as much as I think Nazan Zanatello, you'd be trading low on this guy. This is going to be a stud. It's on the screen right now, Mick Liam. He's going to be a stud. You're not totally decimating it because Franklin Arias, Yoel Cespedes, those guys could be studs. Conrad Kaysen, that guy could be a stud. I'm trying to get him on the channel, by the way. Those players will block time for rookie be in the team. Now, what are the chances we get Arenado? Look, if the Red Sox want Arenado, they're getting Arenado. It doesn't really sound like there's a ton of competition. So you put all of these pieces for Arenado into one big pile, right? You take it all together. The fact that he's going to be $20 million or less a season, fantastic, right? That is not a lot to be paying. So even if he ends up becoming, even if Nolan Arenado, after he's got 3 years left, let's say his first 2 years, and by the end of his second year, you have to start platooning him, or you have to start using him as a bench bat. I don't think that's really the end of the world, especially if you're paying what? Let's say $17 million a year, right? Nazan has a crazy long way to go, especially after a bad year. He's Young, yes, but high school players has a lower chance of making it. Yeah, sure. Again, that's why I'm comfortable doing this. Kaysen could be huge, yeah. Arenado seems super interested in being here. Yeah, so that's the other thing too, right? Is we know the Red Sox are his top destination. So there's also a chance here. There's also a chance here that you could genuinely put out an offer and be like, look, take it or leave it. And Nolan's like, I want to go here. I'm not saying yes to anyone else. And then all of a sudden, the Cardinals are in a spot where they either take this deal from the Red Sox or they don't trade Nolan Arenado. We know they want to trade Nolan Arenado. So they kind of back themselves up against the wall. And the Red Sox have an opportunity right now to really go in there and sort of screw them a bit, right? Sort of screw them a little bit. And I don't think anyone would be too upset by that. I don't think anyone would be too upset by that at all. We keep forgetting about this defense. Yeah. Like, defense was such a problem for the Red Sox over the last couple of years. Everyone's begging this team to go out and get a legitimate defender. Well, here's a guy who at the bare minimum, I think, at this point in his career is a league average bat with some home run potential and a Gold Glove defender. And you don't need a superstar, mega star for this Red Sox team. You don't, right? We've been talking about this entire offseason. You needed a star in this rotation. You got a star in the rotation. You don't need a star in the lineup. You don't need an MVP caliber player. Would have been nice if you got Juan Soto, right? But you don't need him. You just need a solid everyday bat, and you need a veteran leader. And guess what Nolan Arenado does? He does both. Now the question becomes, this trade gets done, what do you do? What do you do? Right? How do you fit him in? There's a couple of different ways you could do that. I think the most obvious way is you straight up either trade or DFA Masataka Yoshida, right? And it's looking more like DFA than it is trade. If he was available, he is available to trade for. If teams wanted him, he probably already would have been traded. Unless, of course, they're waiting to see whether they get Bregman or Arenado, and then they pull the trigger, right? They're sitting there with let's say the Mariners or the Reds or the Giants or whoever is sitting there saying, look, this is our package. Come to us. Let us know. We'll get it done. And the Red Sox are like, okay, cool. We like that. We're going to wait and see what happens with the rest of this. We're not in any position where we need to trade for him. And the guys are like, yeah, we're not going to stretch ourselves to make this happen. If it happens, it happens. But if you were able to do that, all of a sudden, the Arenado fit on this team makes a lot more sense, right? Because you don't have to totally take Devers off at third base. Arenado's getting older. He's still playing a lot of games, but over the last 3 years, he has missed some time, right? 2022, he had a 7.7 WAR in 148 games. That was a while ago. I'm talking specifically about the games, 148 games. 23 was 144. Last year, he only missed a couple, but you could keep Devers healthy. You could put Devers out there at third base every once in a while. So maybe he goes from playing 150 games at third base to, let's say, 70 games at third base. Or you could also teach Arenado and Devers first base. You could just wrap them around the rosy, right? I don't love that idea, but maybe you just teach Arenado to play first base and you were able to cycle those three in between that DH spot. And then all of a sudden, you've now got room to also put a guy like Grissom in there once in a while, to put a guy like Campbell in there once in a while. The other option you have with Masataka Yoshida is straight put him in the outfield. Now, I don't love this idea, but you got to find a way to fit him on here somewhere. Masa playing mostly left field, especially at Fenway. You get 81 games here. You can put 81 games where either Dever plays DH or Arenado plays DH. So you already got 81 games there. You make Ceddanne Rafaela a super infielder or a super utility player, and you trade Willier somehow. I don't know, right? The fit isn't perfect. And that's the problem. What up, more yellow? Agreed, Robbie, agreed. Arenado, solid bat for Fenway, says elite defense. Why isn't he in uniform for us? Yeah, I don't know. Would I rather have Casas, Devers, or Arenado playing first? It'd be Casas. It'd have to be. No. So there's been a common misconception, Klebe, that it's Casas for Arenado. No. Right? It'd be bringing in Arenado and then finding another deal for Casas, which I still don't love. But I think a lot of people are saying I think a lot of people are saying, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it strictly because they think it's Arenado for Casas. That's not the case, right? It's not the case. But I mean, overall, let's just bring the money up because we know the Red Sox don't want to take on that much of the salary. We know that for a fact. We know the Red Sox don't want to take on that much of the salary. Let's say they want to do. Wow, that'd be sick. Say they do 20 million to the Red Sox, right? And now this makes more sense, right? The Red Sox kind of hold them over the barrel. They say, look, you got to get this guy moved. You need to get some money off your books. We'll take him for 20 million. That's 3 years left. That's like, somebody do the math for me. 6 million a year ish. 6,033,333,000. So then all of a sudden, right, you're talking about 10 million a year for the next 2 years for this guy. That's nothing, right? That's nothing. I don't know. I sit here with this Arenado stuff, and a big part of me is like, I'd be okay with this. I'd honestly be more than okay with this. It comes down to, is this a move that they're comfortable moving Casas in another move to make fit? If that is the case, I hate it. If they are sitting there saying, how the hell do we move Massa or free up that DH spot to get Arenado in here? Okay, right? Then I think it makes more sense. Then I think it does. And Rafi, look, dude, I get it. He's not going to be happy about being a DH, but at the same time, Rafi, you're getting paid $300 million, right? You're here for 10 years. You're not going anywhere. You're not being DFA'd. You're not being traded. You're not taking up a spot on this roster. You are the main point of contact when it comes to offense for the Red Sox. You are still the focal point of that. I don't think it should be an issue having him come to DH. I don't. But again, it comes back down to, it ultimately comes back down to, can they move Massa? That's it. That's it. My only problem with that, Klebe, is that Vladdy did it much younger. And he had some experience in the minors too, playing first base. Rafi's never touched first base in his life. I just don't like the idea of putting Rafi at first base. To me, it doesn't make sense. Who wouldn't be happy with that? It's a pride thing, right? It's a pride thing. You've grown up your entire life being a third baseman. You were tasked and paid to be the third baseman of this Boston Red Sox team, the leader on the field, in the batter's box, in the dugout. That's what you were paid to be, right? Now, not publicly, but behind the scenes, you're a leader for this team, right? So it's a point of pride thing. If you're stripping away my ability to play third base, I don't know why I'm here anymore. It's one of those conversations, and it's a conversation that, should be made at some point. It's going to have to happen. Rafi cannot play third base the entirety of his career, but I think he was expecting it to happen at least a few years down the line. Robbie, my question to you is, people always say this, first base is so much easier to play defensively. Can we get an example of a bad third baseman who turned into a really good first baseman? Just spend the money. Yeah. Vlad, I don't think I consider Vlad a good first baseman. He won what? He won a Gold Glove, but defensively, like, his range was terrible. His defensive run saved was terrible. I just don't know how he won that Gold Glove. Yeah, Angel. It's a full recovery. He'll be good to go. Pujols. Pujols is decent. Miguel Cabrera, I think, is a different one. Um, just because Miggy was actually solid as a third baseman. Just serviceable. Yeah, that's fair. There aren't any, Rickard. Robbie, I'm not saying I want him at third base. I'm saying I want him at DH. But everyone's saying, well, just put him at third or first. Yeah, Pujols was solid. I'll give you Pujols. But was Pujols I thought was more of an outfielder. I don't think he played that much time at third before he moved to first. I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe I am wrong. So I don't know. This Arenado stuff, it's been picking up. We'll see where it lands. Maybe it'll be on Robbie and I's live stream together. That'd be funny. That'd be funny. Casas play second. Would moving Willier now be better than Massa? Massa could build value as a fielder before a trade. Yeah, Euclid did do both, but Euclid was a really good third baseman. Casas is catcher. Moving Willier would get you more back. It'd be easier to move Willier for sure. My issue with that, Justin, is if we were going to move Willier, my mind would be to move Willier for Roman. It wouldn't be to put Massa in the outfield. That's the other problem with this, right? Is where do you fit Roman Anthony into this? Because he's going to be a big part of this team. Scott's got a problem with men painting their nails. Poor Scott. Just until the trade deadline? Yeah, but then you're losing a half a season of Roman, aren't you? I don't know. It's an interesting conversation. The fit, in my opinion, on the field is much more fascinating than whether or not Nolan Arenado is a benefit to this Red Sox team. Because I think Nolan is pretty clearly a benefit to the Red Sox. I think he is. Every day for day one? Maybe not, right? Maybe he needs another month or so. But even a month or so, right? You'd have to hold on to him until July to bring him up here. You're not going to sit Roman for the last, or sit Willier for the last 3 weeks, or Massa for the last 3 weeks or whatever, trying to trade him, because then teams know that you don't need this guy. I don't know. It's again, like I said in my video, I just want. What up, Arlen? I just want a resolution. I really do. We are 8 days away from pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training, and we don't know if the Red Sox are done this offseason or not. It's frustrating. This is the second year in a row they've done this. Last year resulted in nothing, right? Is it going to be the same this year? I don't know. I just want a resolution, man. That's all I want. One day we'll get it. At least 4. At least 4 home runs off of Cole. At least 4 home runs off of Cole. New designs for the merch. Some cool youth merch for my daughter so you can represent. Yeah, David, keep I'll let you guys know. There might be something in the works very soon here. Cora's stuck between a rock and a hard place. I don't know if he's really stuck between a rock and a hard place, to be honest with you. I don't know if he's really stuck. Apparently we're only winning 77.9 games. Yeah, that one can that prediction can kick rocks. Honestly, that prediction could kick rocks. That's so dumb. That was a terrible. Grichuk signed with the Diamondbacks, so he's off the table. When are they going to unveil the new uniform? Probably spring training, I would guess. I do wonder if they've convinced themselves it's a JD Martinez situation again, whether Bregman or Arenado. It isn't, but they'll eventually pony up and say it is. I don't know. I don't know if they're truly thinking it's a JD. I think they were thinking that for a while. I don't know how you could sit there. I don't know how you could sit there at this point now and say the same thing. When do I think Bregman will sign? I bet it'll be pretty soon. JD, a pickleball player? Yeah. Yeah. Can't say this offseason resulted in nothing with the pitching staff at least. No, yeah. No, the offseason's been solid. I'd give it right now. I'd give it a C+. They extend Crochet. I think it's a B-. I'd even give it a B. Honestly. What if we switch Yoshida for Arenado? Then yeah, it's a perfect offseason, for being honest. The problem with that is we know that the Cardinals aren't going to want to take on Moss's contract. We know this. So it's not really an option. Tough grader? Yeah, it's a little bit of a tough grade, but did I already discuss the Red Sox taking on all of Nolan's salary to get a better deal? I don't think so. A beachcomber hat? No, probably not, but it'd be fun. The odds, I don't want JD back. I don't think anyone would want JD back. All right, David. Solid B right now? Then yeah, that's fine. B is a solid grade. I just think they need to extend Crochet to get into that really good territory. They're in good territory right now. They're above average territory right now. You extend Crochet, you're in very good territory. Kimbrel? No, God no. If we get Bregman and Arenado, extend Crochet and one of the big three, and whoa. That is way too much money, Dad. E. That is way too much. Yeah, I'm gonna call you Daddy because that is a huge donation. My God. I'm just gonna leave that on the screen for a little bit. That's crazy. It's crazy. Thank you. Thank you. That is way too much. Make sure if you are in this live right now, you've liked that message. That is a ridiculous amount of money, man. You really shouldn't do that. I really appreciate it, but man, thank you. Corbin is CBO. I'm in. I'm in. He says the message on this insane, though, this way too much money donation. was Devers is a below average fielder in his natural position. There's zero reason to expect he'd be better or as good at a position he's not really played. I'll correct you there. He's never played. Arenado at third, Costas at first, Devers at DH. Corbin is CBO. Get it done, John Henry. We know you're in this live. Thanks again, man. I really appreciate it. I'm calling you daddy. Call you daddy because you gave me $105. I can't not. I agree. Personally, I agree with you. I know there are a lot of people that say that he'd be good over there. I don't know, right? Maybe he would. I don't want to take that chance going into a year where you want to be competitive. That feels like the best case scenario to me is Arenado at third, Costas at first, Devers at DH. And then again, if you move Massa, you don't have to make Devers strictly a DH. You can get Arenado off his feet, let's say every 3 or 4 games, right? Let's get him off his feet every 3 or 4 games, and let's get Devers in there. So Devers is still playing 60 to, why is it not going away? 60 to 70 games a year. You know what I mean? Joe, I would say 4. That really meant a lot to me, man. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy. Adoption time. Well, Meyer and Anthony. Meyer, I don't know. Anthony, yeah, I think we would. You said 8. I'm thinking John Henry knows who Devers is. I'm thinking John Henry knows who Trevor Story is. I'm thinking he knows who Duran is. And I'm thinking he knows who, I don't think he knows a single pitcher. And Corbin at CBO. You do not want me at CBO. You do not want me at CBO, trust me. If they had re-signed O'Neill. So here's my problem with Tyler O'Neill is I think a lot of people just saw the home runs and said, that's the dude we want. We need that guy. Right? But at the same point, I look at it and I say, well, what's the bigger picture? Why didn't they give him that? Why didn't they give him that money? My opinion, you look at it, defense was really bad last year. Wasn't good defensively. He struck out at 1 out of every 3 at-bats. He was only on the field for 100 games. Yeah, Noah, I can. I think it would cost more than, I think it would end up costing more than Casas, to be honest with you. So let's say they do this. They add in Herrera. And they add in Helsley. Oh, yeah. This is way, way above. Let's say they take out the cash and add in, let's do 15 instead of 20. And we're at 50. Costas is not worth 50. Yeah, this isn't going to happen. This would be like the only scenario I'd consider trading Costas in, if we're being totally honest. This would do a lot of good for the Red Sox, but man, I don't have to record $5 for the Rally Cat. I'll make sure she gets that. I'll give her $5 worth of treats for you. I'll give her $5 worth of treats. But the problem is you sit there and you say, if he could stay healthy. O'Neill has never stayed healthy. Not once. Right? Not once O'Neill stayed healthy. And the other problem, too, is O'Neill wasn't very consistent. He'd have stretches where he'd hit like 7 home runs in 8 games, and then for 2 weeks, he'd strike out 4 times a game. Right? So, I don't know. I'm not totally heartbroken they didn't bring back O'Neill. I don't know how much better this team would have been. I don't know. Do you think Tyler O'Neill just had one really good, healthy year and we were lucky to get that year out of him? To be honest with you, it wasn't a really healthy year, right? He still missed 62 games. He still missed 62 games. And that, I think that was a career high, right? You know their pitcher, a closer, Ryan Helsley, like the best, one of the top 4 closers in baseball. Yeah, I think they could use that guy. He played 113 games this year. And it was a really good, like, again, it was productive, but you look at it, right? He didn't walk a ton. He struck out 33% of his at-bats. That's crazy. Almost 34% of the time he was at the plate. I don't know. Bullpen needs new faces. The bullpen's got such a high ceiling. We need to talk about this as well. So the main purpose, this came out like 2 seconds before I went live. This stuff right here. The main reason I wanted to talk to you guys tonight was to go over some of the let me close this out. I need to get a new computer, dude. This is driving me crazy. Does anyone know how to add RAM to a Mac? It takes so long, and I don't want to quit you guys out. I don't know how the hell to quit out of this. Get me out of here. Oh, close window. There we go. Bullpen also has low floor. Yeah, it absolutely does. It's just a regular Mac. Yeah, that's what I've heard too. I've been thinking about switching to Windows. Yeah, yeah, I've been thinking about it. I don't know. The Mac is so good. The Mac is so good for editing. It's so good for editing. Sorry, I got on a tangent. Okay, so all right, so we talked about Arenado, talked about that stuff. Here's sort of what I wanted the bulk of this being. And we could, if you guys want, I could do Arenado again in tomorrow's video. What up, Elliot? Right, if something comes of it, we'll certainly talk about it, but position wise, he'd have to be our third baseman. Have to be. Just get a desktop for the streams. Yeah, I don't know if I have the space or income to have 2 computers, you know? I don't know. You predict tomorrow's the day? I hope so. I got nothing going on tomorrow. I can make a video at any point. Boom, 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 right? So what I really wanted to talk about today that I've been distracted by 4 times, and now that I want to say it, and I'm still reading comments about the PCs, and now I want to do a PC. But anyways, what I wanted to talk about is if we were looking at the roster today, right now, as it stands, is David Robertson still available? He is. What are the keys to the Red Sox being successful? How do they get to being a legitimate competitive team? That's the question we're going to be talking about today. Hey, Angel, thanks so much for watching, man. Health, it's a good one. It's a good one. It's a good key. It's a good key. That's always the key, right? That's always the key. That's always the key. If you could stay healthy, and it's not, the problem with baseball is that you're not going to stay healthy. I think the more important way to say this is no true key injuries. Story plays at least 115 games. Casas plays at least 115 games. These guys, Devers makes it through the entire season. Like, getting these guys through a majority of the year is the key to this team's success. You're absolutely right. Outside of health, I think there are a few key people and a few key places that are going to really determine this 2025 team. I think obviously we know as the lineup is constructed just this second, Things could change, but right now, in my opinion, there are two players, or two groups of players, I should say, that I think really sort of are going to drive the Red Sox either to success or to failure. And I think the first one has to be Trevor Story. You do not right now have a legitimate middle of the order bat for a right-hander. You have very, very good middle of the order bats for left-handers. You've got Duran, Devers, and Casas. Those guys in any lineup in Major League Baseball outside of the Dodgers would be hitting first, third, or fourth, or second, or whatever. Those are your keys. But because you don't have at least a proven, in a Red Sox uniform, I'm going to say, right-handed bat, Trevor Story needs to be that guy. Now, sitting here saying Trevor Story needs to be that guy, I'm not saying Trevor Story needs to win a Silver Slugger. I'm not saying he needs to put up 40 home runs. My point is you can't have Trevor Story that's a below average bat. If you get Trevor Story from 2020, what was that, 2022 Trevor Story, right? That was 3 years. Trevor Story. Yeah, he played 100 games-ish. He played 94 and 22. He had a 102 OPS plus. He had 238, not great, but he did give you 16 home runs. Now, if you could get 250 average from Story, you get 20 home runs from Story, and you get 75, 80 RBIs from Story, you're talking about a legitimate middle-of-the-order right-handed bat that you've been desperately needing. The strikeouts are going to be an issue. That's always been a thing with Story. But at the bare minimum, you're replicating what Tyler O'Neill got for you last year, and that's huge. That's massive. Him staying healthy defensively from a leadership position, and most importantly, as that middle of the order, maybe not even most importantly, maybe it's defense, maybe it's the leadership, but him being that middle of the order bat that you desperately need is going to be key. It has to be health. Above all else, it has to be health. If you could stay healthy for, let's say, 100+ games, this team's going to be in a really good spot. I genuinely think so. And I think you guys would agree with that, right? I think that's a clear number one big key to the Red Sox success this season. I also think when we're talking about just players, right? I think as the lineup stands right now, and we've talked about this 100,000 times, we're going to talk about it again because it is a massive key. Young players, they need to come up and they need to be not legitimate stars. Again, you have legitimate stars on this team, whether you like it or not. Devers, Casas, Duran, those are legitimate stars. Casas staying healthy is obviously a key as well. But we know what he's going to do if he does stay healthy. If these kids can come up, Campbell, Anthony, and Grissom, specifically those three right out of the gate, I don't know what combination of those three make the team, but of those three, you need at least two of these guys to be everyday players. I'm talking above average OPS pluses. I'm talking above average OPSs, contact guys, right? High twos for their average with solid defense. That's not a ton to ask for these guys. I think Red Sox fans in general are going to sit there and they're going to expect or hope that these guys, or expect that if these guys aren't superstars out the gate, that the Red Sox aren't going to be competitive. I don't agree with that. Again, you get an average bat out of these guys with high contact and good defense, I think you're in a really good spot. So I think that's key number two. We already knew that. We've already talked about that. We've already talked about health, right? I'm looking at the rotation specifically. I think that's going to be the biggest key for the rotations, just staying healthy. Crochet stays healthy. I think the talent alone carries this rotation. Houck stays healthy. Talent alone can carry this rotation. Bayo stays healthy. Fine. He's a middle of the order guy. You look at Buehler. Buehler's an interesting conversation because you're kind of in a cool spot with Buehler a little bit. It's not the best case scenario, obviously, but if Buehler isn't what you think he can be, and he is that guy that you saw last year, but he stays healthy, all of a sudden you bump him down to that fifth or sixth starter, and you can move a healthy Giolito or a healthy Cutter Crawford up in your rotation. And if those guys are able to give you above league average statistics, again, Crochet and Houck at the top of the rotation, it still looks like a good rotation. That's the beauty of what the Red Sox have done this offseason. They've created a fail-safe kind of area in this rotation where not so much for Crochet and Houck. I think those guys need to be solid ones and twos, but Bayo, Crawford, Giolito, Buehler, those four guys, they don't have to be superstars to be successful. They don't have to be superstars to be successful. Should Story or Grissom start short? It's not even a question. It's Story. Not even close. Not even close. But you sit there and you say, of course, Story will likely get hurt, but if you can get more than half the games on above average hitting and good defense, that's a success. It needs to be more. It needs to be more than 81 games. It needs to be at least 115. For someone like Story, why would we do that, Elliot? Who plays second? Second out the gate, I think, is Grissom. I think it's Grissom out the gate. That'd be my guess, at least. So that's key number 2, right? The young kids, Story, and then the rotation. You kind of got some wiggle room, which I really love, but obviously the key is Garrett Crochet. We knew this. That's why they got them. Outside of that, let's move to defense. How do the Red Sox get better defensively? This one I actually think the only one I'm really, really nervous about is Wong. Wong, to me, is the most pivotal defensive position on the field right now. If he cannot improve defensively, things are going to still look pretty bad. It's going to decrease the value of our pitchers, which is not a good thing. It's going to create havoc on the base pass, which led to errors by other players throughout this season, right? How many, it wasn't a ton of times, but it was a noticeable amount of times where, let's say Connor Wong lets a ball pass, panics, hucks the ball down to third. It's above Rafi's head. Rafi gets up, he gets a glove on it, it trickles into right field or left field, and all of a sudden you've got to run in. Not great, right? It affects the entirety of this team if Connor Wong is not good defensively. First base, Costas just needs to stay healthy. I don't think he's ever going to be a gold glover over there, but I do think he gets closer to average defensively, and he's a great scooper over there. I'm confident with Costas at first base. Second base has been a gigantic black hole for the Red Sox for years. The good news is this year, 3 legitimate solid candidates defensively. We're just talking about improving the defense. Grissom, athletic, has been playing second base for a while now, should be okay. Campbell, really solid defensively, not going to worry about him at second base. Hamilton, low-key, was your best defensive second baseman last year, so you've got a mix of 3 guys there, plus Sogard and Romeo who could fill in when they need to. Second base, I think, solves itself. Shortstop, again, you come back to Story being healthy, huge key. Third base, who the hell knows what happens there. Rafi, yeah, he's not great defensively, right? He's just not great defensively. But if every other one of your infield positions is average to above average, you can get away with Rafi being not a stellar third baseman. Hell, you won a World Series doing it, right? Outfield, I think you're perfectly set. I think whatever sort of combination you come up with in the outfield, you've got multiple potential Gold Glove winners. Duran, Rafaela, Willier might be the best defensive outfield in baseball. Whether you want to do Roman Anthony, Jaron Duran, Willier, Abreu, that's probably one of the best defensive outfields in baseball. Whether you want to do, I don't even know, Roman, Cedon, Duran, that's probably still one of the best defensive outfields in baseball. Regardless of how you mix and match that, Ref Snyder coming in, Massa playing left field probably isn't great, but it's not going to totally decimate it. I'm okay with the outfield. Defensively, the key again is these young players gaining experience. The reason the Red Sox, or a bigger reason why the Red Sox had a lot of errors last year, was a lot of the inexperience, right? There were times at the beginning of the season where Willier would make a mental mistake, or say Don would make a mental mistake, or Costas would make a mental mistake. And it was because they just didn't have a ton of experience at the big league level. People talk about it all the time. The game speeds up on you. Well, now you found a way to slow the game down. You've been in here for a long enough time where it slows down on you. I don't really have as much fear defensively as long as people stay healthy as I think a lot of people are going to have coming into the season because the roster doesn't look all that different. I'm not too worried about the defense. Grissom for the bat, Elliot. Grissom for the bat. Wong throwing out runner percent, not great. I think it's like 24. Wong is so inconsistent. He's a great athlete. Sometimes he makes great plays, but then he's some rough plays too. Yeah, it's about finding consistency. And again, maybe that comes with experience. That's what I'm saying. The only outfielder that play any base is Rafaela. What? I almost think you have too many outfielders and Willier's redundant. Yeah, I mean, he could be, for sure. You're more worried about Grissom's defense? I'm not too worried about Grissom's defense, to be honest with you. I think really the problem with Grissom's defense was that he was playing shortstop and he just can't play shortstop, right? Let me see how Grissom did. Yeah, Duran will be an everyday outfielder. Duran's not going anywhere. What I think happens with the Arenado stuff, Ben, if the Red Sox want him, they get him. I think that's the end of the conversation. I think it's either Arenado gets traded, the Red Sox doesn't get traded, in my opinion. Even at AAA, I actually didn't think he looked too bad at AAA. The reason he looked kind of uncomfortable is because he hadn't played second base at the big league level before. But I was looking at when I was down there at AAA for a pretty decent amount of games last year, it was pretty solid. I don't think there was really a huge issue with it, to be honest with you. What up, Beast? Hey, guys, if you're worried about missing some of this stream, right after this stream, in about an hour, I'm going to be hopping directly onto Robbie Hyde's Monster Territory live stream with him, and we're going to be going over everything over there as well. So, going to be a ton of fun. That was the announcement, by the way. Someone asked, what's the announcement? That's the announcement. I'm going to be on with Robbie Hyde tonight. We're going to have some fun together. Winning it all this year. Thought is that we need Story to be healthy and affected to be in the hunt for a wild card. If that happens, yeah, I think it'll be fine. So now we've got what are the keys for the offense, the pitching, or the rotation? The bullpen's an interesting one. The bullpen's interesting because the keys are a lot, right? There's a lot that could go really right for the Red Sox in the bullpen. There's a lot that could go really wrong for the Red Sox in the bullpen. In my opinion, the biggest key to the bullpen is going to end up being Garrett Whitlock. Right, it's Garrett Whitlock. Whitlock was. Let's just take a trip down memory lane when Garrett Whitlock was a reliever. And I'll stand by it. I said they should keep him as a starter or try him as a starter. I did still think it's just his body can't handle being a starter, which is fine. But they made the right call in doing that. Let's go back to 2021, folks. Let's go back to 2021. Garrett Whitlock, the reliever. 196 ERA, 284 FIP. He was striking out 9.9 batters per nine, walking just 2.2. He had a whip of 1.105, an ERA plus of 239. That is 139% better than the average reliever in baseball that season. Folks, we're talking about a game-changing bullpen weapon. A game-changing bullpen weapon. That, to me, is the key to the bullpen. Because if you can make him a jack of all trades like you did in 21, he can cover a lot of grounds. He can cover a lot of ground. If Hendricks isn't working out, you could put him in the closer role for a little bit until you figure out a more permanent position. If someone starts to falter as a high leverage guy, you could put him in there. You could use him as a long reliever. You could use him in 100 different ways, and he's still effective. And that, to me, is the big key to the Red Sox bullpen. Now, The other keys, I think, are exactly what Joe said. You need to find a closer. You need to stick with that closer. In my opinion, that closer's job right now to lose is Liam Hendriks. It has to be. Liam Hendriks is right now Chapman is obviously the one with real proven closing experience, but if we go to Chapman's last few seasons as a closer, I don't think anyone's going to want him anywhere near the closing role, right? Let's see. When was the last time he closed? Last time he closed was 2021 with the Yankees. He had a 3.36 ERA. It wasn't bad. But then in 22, right, he gets moved off the closer role because he had a 4.46 ERA. That's not the kind of dude I want as a closer. I'm good with that. I think I go Liam Hendriks. And then my next one up would be Justin Slayton. If Hendriks comes into spring training, if Hendriks comes into spring training, his velo's down by 3 miles an hour, his command's off, his pitches aren't moving as the way he wanted it to, go with Justin Slayton, make him your closer, and make Liam Hendriks fight his way back into that spot. That would be my opinion. But honestly, you've got a ton of really interesting again, like I said, the bullpen in terms of its potential this year is fantastic. It really is. People sit there and they say, well, we lost Chris Martin, we lost Kenley Jansen. You bring in Aroldis Chapman, that's not enough to cover it. Yeah, but you also got to remember, you're bringing in Whitlock, you're bringing in Hendricks. Slayton's going to be fully healthy and now experienced. You're bringing in Luis Guerrero, you're bringing in Zach Penrod, you're bringing in Michael Fulmer. Right? You've got guys like Quinn Priester, Hunter Dobbins, Cooper Criswell, Richard Fitz that could fit into this bullpen if you need him to as well. You got guys like David Sandlin, if he can figure out how to miss bats, he could be an excellent piece. And all of a sudden, that's 7 guys coming in to cover 2 spots. Right? That's a lot. That's a lot of potential in that bullpen. It's just about, you got to be able to figure it out as soon as humanly possible. You've got to figure it out as soon. You can't go into the year with question marks in positions in that bullpen, because we've seen what that looks like before. Remember 22? Remember 22? That was terrible. Oh my God, 22. You couldn't figure out who your closer was. Right? You couldn't figure out who your closer was, and you just sat there, and game after game, it was a litany of just clown car foolishness in the 9th inning. You can't have that happen again. You can't. That's a big key to the Red Sox bullpen, figuring it out. They said on Section 10 the bullpen got worse from last year, and I heavily disagree with that. I don't know if I heavily disagree with it. The problem with the bullpen right now is there's more question marks, at least in the back end, than you had last year. But I think the talent ceiling this year is better. Does that make sense? Right? Does that make sense? The depth alone makes it better. That to me is the biggest difference. Is now you've got your sort of set. You've got, in my opinion, your big guys, right? Hendricks, Slayton, Whitlock, Chapman, and you've got 3 or 4 more spots. I can't remember. I guess it depends on the 6-man rotation. But then you've got 3 more spots where you can fit Guerrero, Penrod, Hunter Dobbins, Zach Kelly, Josh Winkowski, Brennan Bernardino, Zach Penrod, Quinn Priester, Richard Fitz, Cooper Criswell, Michael Fulmer. You've got Brian Mata trying to make the team. I'm going on with 10 here, right? I'm going on with 10 here. All of those 7 have no track record to stand on the pen. I don't know where you get no track record, right? I don't know where you get no track record. They absolutely have track record to stand on. And again, you're sitting there, Ralph, and the problem is you're sitting there being like, well, they're going to blow games, right? But the problem is you're not relying on these guys to close out games. You're relying on them to bridge the gap to the guys that do have legitimate standing on appearances. Chapman has enough in your bullpen to stand on, I think. I think you could say Chapman's got enough to stand on. I think you could say you got enough for Hendricks to stand on. I think he's got some accolades to stand on. I think Whitlock's got some stuff, especially in the bullpen, that you could stand on. I think Slayton's got some stuff in the bullpen that you could stand on. That's 4 dudes that you can immediately say they got some stuff to stand on. Michael Fulmer, he's had solid years in the bullpen. Hey, you can stand on that. Brendan Bernardino, he's had really solid stretches in the bullpen. You can stand on that. Greg Weiser was a really, really solid reliever for you last year. You can stand on that one. You can stand on like a guy like Luis Guerrero or Zach Penrod in terms of their first experiences in Major League Baseball. It's not a lot, but it was successful. Right, to say they've got nothing to stand on, I just named, 8 guys that you can put some stuff to stand on. And then you talk about just experience, right? Josh Winkowski last year had some really tough issues in the bullpen, mostly because he was used in extremely high leverage roles. You don't have to do that this year. Even if a guy like Chapman goes down, you've got Justin Wilson, you've got Brendan Bernardino to come and pick him up. A guy like Garrett Whitlock goes down, you got a guy like Priester, Hunter Dobbins, or Richard Fitz to pick him up. A guy like Slayton goes down, you move Garrett Whitlock into that role. Hendricks goes down, you move Slayton into that role, right? The only real problem you're going to have in the bullpen is if these guys come into spring training and forget how to pitch. I don't know. I just don't think you could sit there and say all these guys don't have a leg to stand on. I just don't think so. The key to success in a bullpen is to ensure that your 8th and 9th inning are taken care of, and then ensuring that you have enough depth to deal with injuries and poor performance, because it's going to happen. Those are 2 things that are synonymous with 162 games out of the bullpen: poor performances and injuries. It's really a whole baseball team, but it's most noticeable in a bullpen. If you have enough to cover those 2 things, you're going to have a successful bullpen. It's why the Rays were so good for so long. It's why the Dodgers were able to win a World Series last year. I mean, obviously having Ohtani, Betts, Freeman back-to-back in a lineup helped, but a big reason they were able to stay in games is because they were able to find that depth in a bullpen. Whitlock is expected to start the year on 60-day DL. Wrong. That's just not true. I literally, from his mouth at Fenway Fest, he said, I am going to be good to go for spring training and opening day. So I don't know where that information is coming from. He is not starting the year on the 60-day IL. He's starting the year, if he's not injured during spring training, on the Red Sox 26-man roster. Terrible season's rough. It was an average season. The Sox pen, though, let's be honest, is just a little above average. Yeah, but at the same time, right, you talk about if you have a top 5 pitching rotation in baseball, and people are like, oh, they don't have a top 5 pitching. Guys, they had a top 7 pitching rotation last year in baseball, according to ERA. You're telling me the additions of Garrett Crochet, Giolito, Buehler aren't going to be able to push them into top 5 territory? You're lying to yourself. If they have a top 5 rotation, if they have a top 10 offense, people are going to say, well, Corbin, they don't have a top 5, 10 offense. They lost Tyler O'Neill. Brother, you're also gaining a healthy Trevor Story and Tristan Casas, and they were a top 10 offense in every single category last year. You're telling me that those guys can't help solidify this offense into a top 10 OPS in baseball? I think you're lying. So if you have a top 5 rotation, a top 10 offense, and let's say a top 13 bullpen, that's a playoff team. It's a playoff team. That's the moral, Mike. That's the moral of my story here. So what you're saying is everyone just do their job and we'll be fine. Yeah. Everyone does they don't have to be, again, naturally, if they are healthy, you have 3 superstars. You do. People don't want to admit it. Ralph, it wasn't. I'm going to look it up, Ralph, just to ease your mind. This was posted 8 hours ago, Ralph. This was posted 8 hours ago by Ian Brown of MLB.com, who covers the Red Sox. Whitlock says he's expected to have a regular spring training. There's not a single article that's saying he's starting on the 60-day IL, my friend. Every single article is saying he's ready to go. Every single source is saying he's ready to go for spring training. There's not one in here that's saying he might start on the 60-day IL. It is essential if we're going to hit lefties at all. Now, you know what? You know what's truly essential, Richard? It's not so much that the right-handed bats need to hit lefties. Sure, the right-handed bats need to hit lefties. That's a given, right? But they're also historically pretty good at hitting lefties. Ref Snyder, pretty good at hitting lefties. One of the best lefty hitters in baseball. Romy Gonzalez was a well above average right-handed hitter against left-handed pitching. I think between Grissom, Story, and Campbell, you're going to be fine there. Wong was solid against right-handed. So that's 6 players on this current team that are solid against left-handed pitching. The essential part of the Red Sox being able to hit lefties is your lefties being able to hit lefties. That was your problem last year because you go back to who your superstars on the Red Sox. It's Duran, it's Devers, it's Casas. Now, Casas last year was actually pretty solid against lefties. He just never played. But Duran was was taken from a MVP candidate to a replacement level player against lefties. Devers was taken from a silver slugger, best hitting third baseman in baseball, a top 5 hitter in baseball, to a slightly above average hitter against lefties. Those 3 guys cannot be average against lefties, or you are not going to be able to hit lefties. You could bring in everyone else in this lineup as right-handed, but if Devers, Casas, and Duran cannot hit a lefty, you are not going to have as potent of an offense as you would wish to have. And that's truly the key to success against lefties. Getting a guy in here who can hit lefties really well is always a plus. It's always fantastic, but those guys need to do their jobs first. Has to. Your spidey senses are tingling? What are they telling you, Joey? Outfielder Ben Gamble and the Houston Astros are in agreement on a 1-year contract. So they're out on Bregman? I would love Seiya Suzuki. I don't think it's going to happen. What was Willier like on lefties? Terrible. Miserable. Ralph. Put the link in here. Put the link in here. Because because you're just like you're spewing information that literally isn't on the internet. Like, I'm looking at every article posted about Garrett Whitlock in succession of days. In succession of days days produced. And there is not a single athletic article that mentions Garrett Whitlock. So you're either lying to try and make a point, or you're incorrect in your information, brother, and you just got to admit it. and admit you were wrong. Why don't we take a flyer on Luis Robert? Because it wouldn't be taking a flyer. You'd have to give up a lot to get him. The front office counts the guys that didn't play last year as this year's additions. Joseph, they are, but it sucks because you're right, and that sucks because you want them to make an addition. But they are additions, right? They're not lying. Like, it sucks. It sucks, yes. But you sit there and say, Whitlock is going to make an impact this year. Hendricks is going to make an impact this year. Fulmer most kind of could make an impact this year. Giolito's going to make an impact this year. Story's going to make an impact this year. Casas is going to make an impact this year. We could go on and on, right? It is, right? I don't know. It sucks. It sucks because you sit there and you want to you don't want your management or front office to say, yeah, we're just relying on these guys. But right, they are. They should be. I don't know. It's a weird conversation to have, to be honest with you. It's a weird conversation to be honest with you. Do you think Crochet can have Cy Young caliber? Yes. Yep. Yes. Bernardino at a 4 ERA. Yeah, but you also got to remember, Ralph, that Bernardino ended up injured, right? And pitching more innings than he ever pitched in his life by July, right? And then you got to look at, okay, so if Bernardino isn't relied on, the other thing you got to remember is Bernardino was relied on to be your lefty. You did not have another option, right? So look at it and say, boy, his first 3 months, 0.79 ERA, 0.77 ERA, 2.57 ERA, March and April, May and June. Combined, that is actually, I don't know if it'll let me do that. It won't. My point is, if you take Bernardino out of being the only lefty option and make him your third lefty option and cut his innings in half, you're telling me he can't be solid again? You're sitting there saying he had one bad half a season, that's it, it's over, we're done. Right, we're done. It's done. You think Marcelo comes up, they're going to have Story play third or second to avoid an injury? I think they got to get Marcelo Meyer up here first before they even consider worrying about that. I still think Marcelo's got a little bit to go in AAA. Think there's going to be competition for second base? Yeah, absolutely. It'll be a fascinating spring training. We'll definitely, I think next year. Yeah, next week we'll definitely talk about it. What do you think we see from Story, Casas, Chapman, and Hendricks? Boy, that's a lot. I think from Story, here's ideally what I want from Story. Is give me, so back in 2022, when he played the most games with the Red Sox, he hit 238 with a 303 on base percentage, a 434 slug for a 102 OPS plus, right? He had 16 home runs. Ideally, what you'd want Story to get back to would be this 2021 season in Colorado. He played 142 games. Let's say he plays 120 games. We'll give him some injury wiggle room here. He hit 251 with a 329 on base percentage, a 471 slug for an 801 OPS and a 102 OPS plus. If that's what we get from Trevor Story, you're in a really good spot. He hit 24 home runs that year. Give him 20 and 70 RBIs, and I think you're in a good spot. Casas, you go back to, okay, let's tail of the tape, right? Tail the tape a little bit with Casas. Let's go back to his last full season. Let's just go back to his last full season, which also happened to be his Rookie of the Year season, right? Where he hit 263 with a 367 on base percentage and a 490 slug for a 129 OPS plus. He hit 24 home runs in 132 games. let's say he plays 132 games this year, I would expect that number to be closer to 30 home runs. And I think the OPS plus would be around 130. That's a star player. Chapman, just be an above average setup, man. That's all I want against lefties. And then you can move Slayton in there if you need him to. Hendricks has a lot riding on Hendricks. I don't love that they have a lot riding on Hendricks. I still would like another bullpen arm. But Hendricks, what do I expect? I don't really know what to expect from Hendricks. I think it's all going to depend on what he looks like coming out of spring. I think that's it. I appreciate that, Robbie. Thank you. I'm definitely going to get on a tangent and be late to that. I've already decided. It's not on purpose, but $5 super chat from Mr. Money Mike Madness. Thank you so much. Can we get some likes on that as well, please? Make sure his kind donation is appreciated by our chat. Thank you so much. Mike says Aroldis Chapman needs to star in Kazam 2. I don't know what Kazam 1 is, if we're being honest. Any proceeds will be donated to the Red Sox, and they can pay for a player who'll benefit them in 25. What is Kazam? Am I an idiot for not knowing what Kazam is? It's a movie about a genie played by Shaquille O'Neal? Is that right? Oh, that's cool, Steven. Is that right? Is Shaquille O'Neal? It is. It got a 5% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 20%. Let me just read the synopsis here. A genie named Kazam, Shaquille O'Neal, has been sealed up for thousands of years until one day he's accidentally freed by Max, who is on the run from a local gang. Kazam explains to the youth that he belongs to Max until he grants 3 wishes, but what Max really wants is to get to know his estranged father. When the genie, who considers trying his hand at a music career, what? Forgets his young master, Max is attacked by a villainous club owner, Malik. What is this movie? What is this movie, Mike? This is the most absurd movie I've ever heard in my life. This is the most absurd movie I've ever heard in my life. What is going on? Have a good night, Trendy. Thanks for stopping by. What's my ideal starting 9? We've done this before, right? Okay, first let me acknowledge that Prodigy has 1 month away, folks, from being a member of this channel for 2 years. That is I believe the longest you could possibly be a member here. He says, my predictions, we win 92 games, make it to the ALCS where we lose to the Yankees. Devers wins MVP and Crochet wins Cy Young. I like everything else but the Yankees. Let them lose to the Royals. Let them lose to the Astros or Mariners or whoever. We can't lose to the Yankees. My God. But thank you so much, man. 23 months is unbelievable, Prodigy. 23 months is unbelievable. Okay. Ralph. Garrett Whitlock is going to be ready for spring training. He's going to be. You like, I don't understand. What are you doing? Why is this such a fight for you? Every source that we could look at said Garrett Whitlock is going to be ready for spring training. My Lord. Back to the ideal starting 9. Sorry. Duran leading off. So this is opening day. Duran leading off. Devers hitting second. This is from The Athletic. Show me the article, Ralph. Show me the article. Just show me the article. Because I don't know how the Athletic somehow has figured out that Garrett Whitlock isn't going to be ready. Despite the fact, I could pull up the video. Do you want me to pull up the video where he says that he's going to be ready? I recorded it. From Garrett Whitlock and Lucas Giolito's mouth to me. They both said they're going to be ready for opening day, but somehow the Athletic, this mysterious Athletic article knows more than the actual two people. It's a paid site. I can't give you the link. Then you're lying. CA Blue, $5.99 super chat or $4.99 super chat is their first super chat. Their first super chat in our live stream. Get some likes on that, please. Thank you so much, CA. That is extremely, extremely generous. I think people underrate Houck. I think he has Cy Young potential. I predict he'll be a finalist next year. I like that. You know, he was really good this year. Really good this year. Do not disagree ever. Oh my God, Mojo. This is nothing about disagreeing. He's just factually wrong. It's not a disagreement. He's just misinformed and trying to make everyone else believe his misinformation. That's not disagreement. That is being wrong. There are two totally different things. That's a good way to think, Quentin. Real nice. Jimmy Butler just got traded to the Warriors. Wow. All right, back to our starting nine conversation. CA, thank you once again for your first ever super chat. I appreciate you. Duran 1, Devers 2. I think you have to do Story 3, Casas 4, unless you're comfortable with Grissom or Campbell, and I don't think you are right out the gate. If we're talking opening day, Story 3, Casas 4, 5. Massa 5. Massa 5, 6. That's right. Put Grissom or Campbell. 7 Willier. 8 Wong. 9 Rafaela. This Ralph E. Now Ralph has actually been around a lot longer. Ralph has been in a part of this channel for years. I don't think we've ever agreed on anything. But he's been around for a very long time. Live stream with Robbie Hyde is starting. The live with Robbie should be starting around 9. I thought about trying to dual stream it, but okay, Ralph, that's fine. Sport, you got to stop spamming it, dude. I would love to show you the baseball card collection, but I can't move my camera. What up, Mark? How you doing? All right, so here's what I'm going to do, Ralph. Because you were hell-bent on this. That's okay. No, it's okay, Sport. It's not a problem. I just wanted to let you know. I would... what the hell? Athletic Sports. TheAthletic.com. Okay. All right, so I think I found the latest article, which was posted today. Oh, we got a $4.99 super chat from our moderator, Prodigy. Prodigy, thank you so much. I appreciate you for being here. Do you see Durant being an all-star again? And do you think he'll be how he was in 2023? How many other moves do we make before spring training? The first part of your question, he has all the potential in the world to be an all-star again. I don't know if it means he's going to be as good as he was last year. Last year was a historical season. This year, I don't know if he has a historical season, but I still think he could be really good. He doesn't need to be historical for him to be really good. As for the other moves, that's so tough because I want to say they've got one big move left in them. I don't know that they do. I could also see maybe they just go and do one or two smaller moves. Like they go and maybe they get a smaller bullpen piece, or maybe they get a yeah, dude. I'm on the okay. Sorry, I'm still talking about this Ralph thing. A smaller bullpen piece or something like that. I don't know if it's gonna be a big move. My heart wants to say yes. I just can't get myself to say yes. So Ralph, I'm sorry guys. I'm still on this. I'm still on this. I'm on the Athletics webpage. I'm looking up Garrett Whitlock because if he was mentioned in an article, it would come up. There are two articles that come up in the last week and a half. Red Sox farm heat check. Not really a ton to do with Garrett Whitlock. Red Sox spring training guys, 36 thoughts on 36 pitchers by Jen McCaffrey. In that Athletic article, she says that Garrett Whitlock will be ready to go for spring training. So, Ralph, I'm sorry, dude. Like, there's just nothing here. There's nothing here. I'm on the actual Athletic article webpage. I paid to be on here to tell you you're not right. That's how petty I'm being tonight. As a lifelong Sox fan for 15 years, I hope the Sox do something big the rest of the offseason. What do I think? I appreciate you, TJ. I think even if they don't do something big, there's reasons to be excited. Is the old football adage that QBs pertain to the Red Sox second base situation? If they have 6 second basemen, they have no second baseman. Kind of, Antoine. Kind of, yeah. Anton, kind of. Yeah. They need at least, if you have 2 or 3 guys there, it's much, much better. Much better. Durant could have an 8.5 WAR, still be worse than last year. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, he still could be really good. Corbin, do I see the Red Sox sign P. Alonso before spring training? No. Have you ever met Big Papi? Yeah, once. I met him. Not in like a hey, I'm a sports creator type of way, but in a I love that Mad's $105 donation still here, and we're an hour and 41 minutes into stream. That's so cool. I just met him at a Fenway at Winter Weekend 2 years ago. When am I getting married? 9/6/26. How close do I live to Fenway? About 25 minutes away. On a good day. Do I get season tickets? No. I should get season tickets. I've talked to my fiance about it many a times. I think it's if you live close to Fenway, you go to a lot of games, it's very smart. But yeah, 2026, Kevin. How many games do I go to a year? So 20K, my dad Adam. I meant more so in terms of like a 10 game package, Prodigy. I should have clarified. You're right. Sorry, I should have clarified. Like a 10 game package, you end up saving money. How many games do I go to a year? So I'll tell you guys this. Last year, normally I go to about 2 games a month. Last year was funny because all my friends were like, I got to go to a game with you. Like I was going to be able to get them into stuff. I can't. I have no special treatment at Fenway, none. So I ended up going like three times a month. There was a couple months where I went 4 times a month. I go a lot. Is the end of the story there. We go like every other weekend, basically. Can you write off tickets on your taxes now? I don't know if I probably, maybe. I don't know if I can though, to be honest with you, because I don't make content out of going. You know, would I be mad if they signed Pete Alonso, moved Casas at first, and played Massa and left? Yes. I don't know. Pete maybe for a year, but I don't know. Research, yeah. I'm sure there's a way to do it, Joey. This year has been it's my goal to really document and get my taxes done right. What's up, Fenway Joe? How are you? Right before your wedding? You got to get up again, Angel. You got to get up again, man. They made some really, really cool. I don't know when the last time you went, but they made some really cool additions. 1986, Steven, you got to get there, man. You weren't even there when the monster seats were there. Is Pete firing Boris? Depends on the contract he gets. How do I think Roman will do this year? I'm hoping that he is a league average bat. That's what I'm hoping for. And then anything above that, I'm very happy with. Where will Pivetta sign? I'm gonna guess the Angels. I don't know. Or maybe the Athletics need to spend a little bit more money. Maybe they go with him. Robbie, you got to get there too, man. What are you doing? Oh, well, that does make it difficult, Steven. They do have buses, though. I'm sorry I'm late. Do you mind summarizing a little bit here? Do you think? Yeah, summary of the live stream. Let's do this. Had 2 kids. That'll do it. That'll absolutely do it. Tennessee, that I forgot about that, Robbie. For some reason, I thought you lived in like Pennsylvania. I don't know why I thought Pennsylvania. I knew it was Tennessee. Summary of the live stream. Arenado potential trade could be on the board for Nazan Zantello and Blaze Jordan. The keys, in my opinion, the Red Sox season this year to being successful: Trevor Story, one of Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell, or Vaughn Grissom, and finding consistency in the bullpen. How will Christian Campbell do? Again, I think you got to go into with these guys that they're going into Major League Baseball. They have a lot of pressure on them. If they simply have league average seasons, I think you're in a good spot. I have a guy do my taxes, thanks to him. Yeah, I hired someone last year and I got a lot of money off that I didn't know I could get off. So I'm going to use that same guy this year. How much left is Massa playing? Probably, I would guess like 30 games. I don't think Massa is going to be out there very often, to be honest with you. The only way I see Massa getting significant time is if they trade Willier and bring in Arenado and want to ensure that they can use the DH slot like a true versatile DH slot. So that's the only way I see it. So if they trade Willier a lot until Roman comes up, and then I don't know what the hell you do with Massa. But if that doesn't happen, I would guess like 30 games. Who are the Red Sox going to draft first? Oh, man, I'm not good with drafts, to be honest with you, TJ. I wish I was better with college players. I just don't have time to pay attention to it. I wish I did. I would guess a catcher. My concern with bringing out the prospects is if they tank like Holiday did in Baltimore. Yeah, that's always the big one. Bay Sox bombs 23 with a $5.90, or I keep saying $5 because it's $5, but anyways, $4.99 Super Jack. We get some likes on that, please. Thank you very much. Bold take: Willier hits 25 home runs. I don't think that's that bold of a take. How many did he hit last year? It wasn't that far off, was it? If he's with the Red Sox, he's going to be playing almost every day, I would assume. Sounds like a good game pack, man. He hit 15 in 132 games. He's going to add 10 to that this year. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. That is a bold take. I love it, but if Willier crushes his 2025 season, they still trade him. I guess if Wheeler makes it through the full year, you hold on to. I don't know. I don't know. $5 super chat from Mike. See, nice and even. Nice and even super chat. Thank you very much, Mike. Who gets some likes on that as well? Thank you so much, Mike. Very kind of you. Very kind of you as well, Bay Sox. I like the hot takes. Keep them coming. What are the chances we could trade for Trout? Negative. Hamilton hits 20 home runs and steals 40 bags. Mike, I love your commitment to David Hamilton, man. Hamilton played, let's say 100 games even. He played 98, but we'll say 100. He hit 8 home runs last year. This dude would have to bulk up. 40 bags, you're probably not. I mean, he stole 33. If he gets legitimate playing time, yeah. I could see 40. 20 home runs is how did he do? Let me see his minor league stats. He had a lot of home runs in AAA last year too, didn't he? Or AAA in general, didn't he? Yeah, he had 17 home runs in 23 in 103 games. Yeah, I saw that, Pac-Man. I hate it. Because it gives us all a bad name. How likely do you think we are to get Arenado? How likely is it? Nick, I've been putting it like this the entire live stream, so I won't stray from that. I've been saying on live stream, I think it ultimately comes down to I think the Cardinals are ready and willing to go. I think it comes down to whether or not the Red Sox are going to do it. That's ultimately, in my opinion, the difference. So how likely is it? I don't know, to be honest with you. What I do know is I think it's Red Sox or bust with Arenado. We'll see. Maybe another team comes in Hail Marys, but we'll see. Hot take, Duran hits 30 home runs. Friend of mine saw him at the gym. 30 home runs from Duran would be ridiculous. Imagine Jaren Rand puts up a similar season last year, but instead of 21 home runs, he hits 30. Oh my God. He would win MVP for sure. 30 is a lot. I could see 25. I could see him this year sort of reeling back the speed aspect of his game and focusing on more on overall production. Although, I mean, come on, he was overall productive last year. That's not what I'm saying. But like, try to preserve himself a little bit more if he is getting bigger, if what you're saying is true. So I can see a little bit more home run potential. I don't know about 9 more home runs though. I'll say this, Mark. Of the 3 of those hot takes, I think yours is the most likely. If Durant hits 30 home runs, I'll send you $50. Someone screenshot it. If they get Arenado, does he play second base? No, he'll play third. I heard Houston offered Bregman 6 years. Why wouldn't he just take that? He doesn't like the yearly dollar amount. He doesn't have the yearly dollar amount. He was getting a pay cut. What will it take for Abreu's value to exceed the unproven minor league stars? Just seems to me like he gets a bad. No. I don't think anyone's giving Willier a bad rap at all. What it would take. It would honestly, Jay. It would take him hitting lefties, right? That's the only answer, because he's a Gold Glover. He's got some pop. It would be less strikeouts and being able to hit lefties. That's your answer. Because right now, he's a platoon bat. Just looking at it, here's the comparison, Jay. Just in case you're wondering. .267 batting average, .334 on base percentage, .491 slug with a .130 OPS plus against righties. He was 30% better than the average player against righties last year. Against lefties, he hit just .180 with a .254 on base percentage and a .279 slug for a .51 OPS plus. He was 49% worse than the average player against lefties. So there's your answer. Yeah, if he could hit lefties, he absolutely is an all-star. What would I give up for free Sox tickets for life? Free? Like any game? Even including like playoffs, opening day, and all that? Man, free Sox tickets. I don't even know. They're still coming out with Doom games? Sorry. It was just an ad. Sorry. At least a toe. Right? At least a toe, I think. Do you think Vladdy Jr. signs an extension and goes to free agency? Gut's telling me he ends up signing an extension. They're like, haggis? That's like intestines, right? I don't think so. I've never had it. I don't know. Does anybody other than Garrett strike out 200? See, the thing is there are players on this team that have the potential to do that. Like Lucas Giolito's done it 3 times. He did it even when he had that bad year before he got to the Red Sox. He did it. How far off was Houck last year? He had to have been close, right? Or did he get over? No, he was still like 60 off. Cutter maybe, but I don't know if Cutter's going to get the innings to do 200. He's at 175 last year. As Buehler's had to have done it. Yeah, Buehler's done it twice. I'm going to say Giolito does it, Mark. Bayo? That'd be an interesting one. Rafael is a 25-25 season. That would be crazy. So are you ready for spring training? God, I hope so. What's the name of the show you'll be on? Look up Monster Territory. I'll be on that one in about 20 minutes. I could see Crawford getting traded. Yeah, I could too, actually. Who are Meyer and Roman's best comparisons at their peaks? Meyer was compared to Willy Adames the other day, which I think is interesting. I would be very happy if he ended up being Willy. Peak Willy Adames would be great. Like a four-ish WAR player. Above average OPS, solid defense. That'd be fantastic. Also, he gets a lot of Corey Seager peaks as his comp. Roman gets Kyle Tucker. If he becomes Kyle Tucker, we are gonna be in very good shape. People have also compared him to like prime Cody Bellinger and like 2019 Christian Yelich. Again, if that's the guy you're getting out of him, you are getting very good production. Is Roman's defense good? Yeah, it is. You think Duran should be the 2-hole hitter and have Massa lead off? No. Keep Duran there. Roman will be like Benintendi? I hope not. What was peak Benintendi? I mean, peak Benintendi was 2018 Benny, right? And he was solid. But I think Roman's ceiling's higher. Roman's ceiling's higher, yeah, mostly because he gives you similar defense but can hit more home runs. Am I balding? Durant's too good to lead off? No, that's why he was so good. That's why he was so good. It's because he was leading off. He also, that was a mentality thing for him too, so I think that's a big part of it as well. Yeah, Roman's defense was good. Not have RBI potential. Robbie keeps saying JD Drew level prospect. I mean, JD Drew was good, dude. JD Drew was good. I've heard that comp a lot too. Yeah, like prime JD Drew is like prime Cody Bellinger. So Durange's let off game on second most of the time. Yeah, that's what I mean. Sean Green comp, that's a good one too, actually. It's probably Sean Green's probably a decent comp because he had a lot of power. Yeah, that might be a good comp actually because he had a ton of power. But again, like Sean Green, kind of similar peaks to like 2019 Cody Bellinger. So like anyone in that range, that's sort of like 7-ish WAR outfielder. That's sort of the peak for Jarren Duran. It's crazy. Crazy. Ready to watch? Same. Bryce Harper? Yeah, I don't like that one. That's a lot to put on him. Who had the better first 5 seasons as a Red Sox? Nomar or Mookie? Prodigy, I would say yes. Nomar or Mookie? Did you want me to look this up? Or did you want me to just guess and you tell me? My guess is it has to be Nomar, right? Yeah, Rafi's healthy. Are we including his first? No, we'll go first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 28.1 WAR, 141 OPS plus, 117 home runs. Someone remember that. I'm not going to. Mookie Betts. Again, we won't count first full season. 1, 2, 5. I think it might end up being Mookie. 5. Oops. I think it's Mookie. 40 WAR, Mookie. 34 OPS plus, so slightly less, more home runs. It's Mookie. If we're going based on WAR, Mookie dwarfed him. Looks like Bregman and the Cubs aren't out of Boston with like Helsley packaged with them. It kind of sounds like that's what's happening. Nomar's first 5 was unbelievable. Yeah, but I'm looking at. I mean, Mookie. Like I did first full season, so I didn't include their first half seasons. I did the first full seasons. Mookie, MVP top 20, finished his first full season. Second in MVP voting, 6th in MVP voting, 1st in MVP voting, 8th in MVP voting, 40 WAR. I don't know. How much do you think Cutter? We saw Cutter with Velo in the pen, didn't we? We saw Cutter in the pen. It was like 90, 96, 97. He was slinging it a bit. What would it take to get Luis Robert? A lot. What up, Chills? How you doing? Sandlin could debut this year? I don't think so. Or I think so. I think he could. Sorry, I'm just talking to Robbie. I know. I said it the wrong way. I'm in Fort Myers, ready for spring training. Oh, make sure you get to a bunch of games, man. Is Cardinals Live another Mick? No, they definitely have more information, I think. I'm gonna be honest with you, Mark. Like Nomar had less home runs. He had less overall WAR, which means Mookie was better defensively. The batting averages are crazy. I'll give you that. The batting averages are crazy. I think it's a conversation though. I think it's absolutely conversation. I think it's a harder conversation than just saying Nomar. It's not comparable. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Who do I think is a better GM, Heim or Breslow? I don't think we've seen enough of Breslow to figure out who the better GM is, to be honest with you. I think we need to wait and see what Breslow lives up to. Is Roman the best prospect in baseball right now? Sure is. You guys think Bregman or Arenado are our new teams by the end of the week? I would say yes. I would say yes. Yeah. How did Nomar Garcia? Who won MVP in 2000? Jason Giambi? Okay, it was disgusting, if we're being honest. Was I on the side of Heim firing? I don't remember. I wasn't totally opposed to it. I wasn't totally against it either. I wasn't totally against it. I wasn't totally for it. I was just sort of I just sort of tried to make sense of it, I think. Okay, guys. So for those of you who don't know, at 9:15, I just got the word from Robbie. At 9:15, I'm gonna be hopping on with him. So you're gonna be getting a double dose of me tonight. So if you want more from live streams, I'm gonna be heading off here in probably about 5 minutes. Take a break, and then I'll be back on at 9:15 p.m. Eastern time with Robbie tonight on Monster Territory. We're gonna be live streaming, talking about everything. With him on his channel over on Monster Territory. Should be a ton of fun. You guys have been asking for a collab for months now, and we finally got one together, so I think that's what we're going to do. I think we're going to wrap this one up, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. We went over kind of everything I wanted to go over. There isn't a ton of news right now. That tweet from Cardinals Live is interesting. So we'll kind of see what comes of it. 1 degree away from Cora, if you put it that way. I guess so. That's a fun way of putting it. Either way, guys, I really appreciate you hanging out. For everyone who's been here, the fact I always say this in January and February, and I just need to keep reiterating it because I need you guys to know how much it means to me. The fact that there's nothing going on with the Red Sox and you guys are still in here talking to me about Red Sox baseball, it makes me the happiest person in the world. I truly cannot thank you enough. Whether we agree, disagree, whether you make me mad or make me happy, you guys being in here at all means the world to me. Thank you, Mr. Mad. Mr. Mad, I need to give you a special thank you. That was an incredibly generous donation from you. Incredibly generous. I can't thank you enough for the generosity you've shown this stream and me in general. It truly, it's unbelievable. Everyone else who donated, I from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you. Again, guys, this isn't the end. 9:15, Monster Territory on YouTube. Robbie Hyde's Red Sox channel. We're going to be over there. We're going to be hanging out. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about God knows what, right? Hopefully something materializes tonight and we can have a conversation about it tomorrow. If not, I've got a whole bunch of stuff in the memory bank for you guys. So we'll definitely be seeing you tomorrow on the live stream or tomorrow on the channel. As always, guys, if you haven't considered subscribing yet, please consider doing so. We do these once a week. We talk Red Sox every day but Sunday. Make sure you like the video as well. It just helps out a ton. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. I will see you in just about 20 minutes on Robbie Hyde's Red Sox channel. Again, monster territory in a few seconds. And of course, as always, ladies and gentlemen, in the red seats.